Hi guys, good morning, or wherever you are in the day, whatever time it is for you. So here in Bansko is Friday the 18th of August 2023, and it's actually right now 11:22. So I think this is a good time to start the video. And this is going to be another one of my non so much astrological videos. Of course, everything in my life is about astrology, but I'm not going to be talking too much about any specific aspects or anything like that. I'll leave that once again as last week for this next video. I think I quite enjoy doing this, perhaps doing a little bit of real life experience application share, and then video where it's just like really nitty gritty astrology. So this is going to be more of the personal share. So yeah, how's this week been for you? So of course we had the build up towards the new moon in Leo, which took place on Wednesday, and now we enjoying the after effects of this new moon in Leo. Of course, the moon, well, Luna, is still in Virgo until tomorrow. She will be moving into the sign of Libra, so there is not much light still. Moon will be in a waxing crescent once she will be getting towards the end of Libra, probably on Sunday. So we don't get straight away all the information about what this lunation was about. And of course, usually that takes 6 months until the full moon in Leo, which will be in Aquarius season. However, I'm sure that certain things have come up to your reality, to your conscious mind, because this is usually what universe does, especially if Uranus is involved, because we know that this last lunation was squared by Uranus. So if Uranus is involved, it definitely is gonna stir some things and bring them up to the surface of our consciousness. So I'm sure that there has been something for sure. So I can only share my experience, of course, and I feel that this week, in many ways, was about own your self-worth. Own your self-worth and shine your light, okay? And the two are obviously connected, because if we don't do one, we cannot really do the other, right? So yeah, like as we know with Leo, it's all about let yourself shine, because Leo is the king. Leo is the king of the jungle. Everybody knows most people know their sun sign, because that's what they feel the most connected to. It's our life force, our prana, our purpose, our destiny, our uniqueness. So yeah, because we had all these other things involved during this lunation, which I had discussed with my friends in a collaborative videos, also in my own video a week ago. So there's been a lot. There's been a lot activated during that past lunation that we just experienced 2 days ago. So I'm sure that it was showing up in everybody's life in some way. And a lot of it, of course, is connected to the self-worth, because Venus was involved shortly after she had the Venus star point, the conjunction with Sun, which happened on Sunday. And then, this was a reborn Venus. And because she was just behind, she was on a less of a degree than the lunation. This is what we call the closing phase. So things are culminating, things are ending, because Venus, as we know, is involved with the South Node, which is the resolution node to the square, Pluto square to the node. So there is a lot of stuff coming to the surface for us, thanks to Uranus as well, because Uranus and Venus are doing free squares between each other. So thanks to Uranus, things are being brought to the surface, like, hey, pay attention to this. This is thing from the past, which is unresolved. And isn't that just the truth, right? So yeah, so for sure, for me personally, there's been definitely unexpected circumstances that took place this week, which I did not see coming for sure. And I had to take action. I had to own my worth, and I had to take action. I had to make some decisions with regards to my services, also how much I want to work, how much time I want to take for myself. As I also mentioned in my previous video, I am taking more or less the rest of the month off, starting as of 20th. I do have 2 clients next weekend, on the weekend of 26th, 27th, because they've been waiting a long time, so I'm making an exception. But apart for that, I am now not taking any bookings until September, because I really need a break. And it all comes with this owning your self-worth. And I know in my experience that I had just experienced this week, and also connected with my good friends and like people that I'm in regular conversations with, this definitely has been showing up for them as well. And it's all an opportunity to make a new choice under all circumstances, isn't it? Because as we know, the North Node has been going through Taurus for past year and a half until July this year, when it moves into the sign of Aries. And that was the opportunity to discover like what matters to you, what do you feel you're worth. And now, because the North Node is in Aries, it's like, okay, now we have to put it into practice. It's not all just about gathering information, but we also have to put it into practice. And universe for sure tests us. This is always how it happens, that you feel like, oh yeah, I'm doing so well. And then universe presents us with an opportunity to make a new choice under all circumstances. So we might feel like, oh yeah, I thought I handled this lesson before, and then bam, it happens again, and then it's like, okay, what am I going to do about this? And that is the opportunity to set new boundaries, isn't it? So yeah, so for sure, there is a lot of this going on in the air, a lot of owning your self-worth and allowing yourself to shine, and nobody's gonna do it for you. Like, I can guarantee you, nobody's gonna do that for you. And there's also the things I'm coming across, because as I share, there are always repeating themes with my clients, and that's something that I can also observe, how people, the most common question obviously is, when am I going to meet someone, right? And unfortunately, the answer is when you become that person. Because the person we want to attract into our life, we need to be in resonance with. So we have to attract it. So whatever it is that you want to attract when it comes to qualities in the other person, we have to become it. So of course, if you want to attract somebody who is successful, whatever, spiritual, fit, whatever is the thing for you, it doesn't really matter. Tall, well, obviously about that we cannot do so much, tall, but yeah, the other characteristics, then we have to do it ourselves. Like, how are we gonna attract somebody who is like spiritual if we are not spiritual? Then obviously, where are we gonna meet that person? Although there are obviously exceptions, because universe always plays all sorts of games to give us an opportunity for learning and evolution to take place. But yeah, all in all, in essence, to me, this lunation, what definitely was about owning your truth and giving yourself a permission to shine. And for that to happen, you need to believe that you can, that you need to believe that actually I have everything that I need, even though I might not know everything, but I have what I need right now to start. And as we know, Mars is still in Virgo, just about for another week and a bit, because then it's going to move into Libra on 27th. But this is going to be something which, as I mentioned, I will talk about in my astrological video, which will follow. I will probably record it sometimes over the weekend and release it on Monday, because I don't want to spam people like, hey, look, Moonlight Soul released another video. Nobody has the time to listen to her for all this time. So I just really wanted to pop in, because I'm sure based on how things are like reflected to me from my environment, people probably had the opportunity to experience kind of crossroad where they could have made a new choice and established their boundary, or define their new self-worth, or actually go after what they feel they deserve. And another thing is that is connected to do is this continuous feeling of guilt and shame if we do treat ourselves, or if we do put our needs first, or if we do, like, for example, increase our price or something, because there is this still this Pisces age conditioning, this Virgo archetype of like, oh, I need to be humble and I need to like put myself last and be of a service. But the best way we're ever going to be of service to someone else is if we take care of ourselves, because it all starts with you, always, everything always starts with you in this reality. So that's why this is another thing that I had to sit with, like, how much are my services worth, like, because obviously people not gonna go and volunteer to pay a certain amount if I don't think I'm worth that, because that's how it works. Nobody's gonna go and do it for us. We have to do it for ourselves. And that's what I mean, like, especially people who are Aquarius rising like myself, they understand, because we have a Leo on the 7th house, and there is the desire for people to see us, to validate us. It's also with the obviously Leo risings and Leo suns, they want to be seen, they want to be understood, they want to be allowed to shine their light. But the thing is that people usually expect the other person to tell them, oh yeah, you're good at this, you should be going to do it, or I don't know, like give yourself permission or something. But most of the time this doesn't happen. Most of the time we have to do it for ourselves first, and then when we actually don't care anymore that, oh yeah, is anybody going to actually give me acknowledgement, but we just do it because we want to do it, because we love it, and because we can't help ourselves, because there is this instinctual desire for something, and it's something that it gives us a sense of joy and happiness. And that's what I always say, that if people do something that they really hate, it's unlikely that it's gonna lead to happy life, even if it does generate money, because it's just, if we are not in alignment with that which brings us a sense of joy and purpose, and this destiny, that I'm doing something that makes sense and makes me happy. And then if people obviously do something that makes them happy, usually they make other people happy too, because the happiness rubs off. So this is the thing, that unless we own our worth and we actually shine our light ourselves, then people get attracted to that, of course. Like, people have no problem going after somebody who shines. As you can see, the more somebody has success, and I mean, obviously depends on the person's personality as well, but the more they attract people, well, for whatever reason, depending on the personality, whether it's for the negative or positive, but they always attract people. When people shine as a center stage, we know with the celebrities and people who made name for themselves, that people are attracted to them like the moths to the light, because like, okay, can that rub off a little bit, so I have a little bit of that. So I'm not in no way saying that let's all be rich and famous here or something. It's definitely not, and that hasn't been my goal in life. I just wanted to be happy and do something I enjoy, and just, in a sense, be able to just be, right? Which is something that I'm still working on achieving, just being rather than just doing all the time, which is why I'm forcing myself to take time off. But yeah, everything comes from the sense of self-worth. It's so crazy. And as we, the last few relations, especially the new moon in Cancer, that just switched everything on its head, because the lunar nodes shifted, and then we had the Aquarius full moon, which gave us a point of integration with regards to like what actually makes you feel free. Like, are you feeling your authentic life, like being uniquely yourself? And now we had this new moon in Leo, which like probably like put the nail in a coffin of that, like, okay, we're going in this new direction, there is no going back, because we have a purpose to fulfill here. Like, time is accelerating, and there's just no time to waste, and more people are awakening. And the very common theme I've experienced with my clients this week was Pluto in a 12th house. This is so crazy, because it's obviously, everybody's got Pluto somewhere in their chart, but I literally had like, for about 3 or 4 days, every single client I did a reading for had a Pluto in a 12th house, and I was like, what is this? But we just had a new moon, right? And always before the sun and moon meet together, there is a culmination, because moon is coming into the closing phase to sun, and that's what creates the new moon, obviously, the sun and moon conjunction. But because moon is the faster moving, it comes to sun, so moon is closing to sun. So anyway, what that means is that some aspects of who we thought we were obviously has the opportunity to be transcended, to be renewed, like to integrate the experience of the past cycle and become someone new based on the knowledge that we accumulating, and now we are like growing and evolving. And that's the point of the entire evolution, that we continuously, by observation and practical application, like Virgo, we accumulating information and we growing and evolving all the time. That's why, like, just observing nature and the cycles of nature, how nothing ever stayed the same forever. Like, I mean, yes, not all countries have 4 seasons, but still, even in countries that don't have 4 seasons, they have 2 seasons. They have the wet one and the very hot one. And the things are always changing. There is not one place in the world where it's just always the same. I mean, maybe Antarctica, I don't know, like probably Antarctica is like more or less the same all year, but yeah, for most places in the world, there is certain change in a season, even though, yes, in today's time and age, the weather is not quite as predictable as it used to be when it comes to these things. But Anyway, so what I'm trying to, why I'm talking about this is because there is this continuous change. Continuous change, as we know, the only thing that is constant is the change in life. And that's the one thing that's guaranteed, that nothing is going to stay the same forever, because it's the cycle of life. Everything that starts one day will end. And every time there are these lunations, lunations kind of just like mark these landmarks. Okay, there is a new moon, there is a full moon, there is a new moon, there is a full moon, and there is all that in between. Of course, the waxing craze and the full moon and the waning craze, and then it goes over and over. And this is life. This is life. The cycle of life is always the same. It's not the same. It's the cycle is guaranteed, but what it brings with it is different, of course, depending on the person's experience, where they at on their evolutionary path, whether they're ready for the shift, whether they're not ready, because the planets don't make us do anything. They just present energy. They go, here is the energy, do whatever you want with it. And and like for myself personally, because I can only talk for myself, because I only live my experience, nobody else's, things are definitely showing up very quickly. So it's like, this lunation gives us the opportunity. Okay, you have the opportunity to be authentic and stand up for yourself and own your truth and shine your light. And how are you gonna do it, right? And then bam, there is an experience and there is the opportunity. And then I'm like, this makes me feel uncomfortable. What am I going to do? I'm just going to ignore it and nothing is gonna change. But if nothing changed, nothing changed. That's why, like, if you want to change your life, you need to change yourself and your perception of reality, because if nothing changed, nothing changed. We can just wait there, like, okay, I'm not gonna change anything, I'm not gonna do anything, and yes, eventually something, universe might just go and like, okay, time is up, there you go, there is something. But isn't that much better when you actually feel like, I'm actually collaborating with universe here, and I'm aware of these cycles and these energies that are streaming through, which are presenting opportunity for certain action in certain areas of our life to be taken, and then we do take it, and then change happens, right? And change doesn't happen like straight away most of the time, because as I said, with the new moon, it takes time for moon to gain light and for us to actually understand what this was about. So I don't quite know why that situation appeared immediately. And I was like, okay, but I guess the consequences of that, I'll have to wait. I'll have to wait how things will gain momentum and the light, right? So this has been a very interesting week. Also, a lot of things from the past have been coming, because Leo is nostalgic. Leo always thinks back and like, these days, especially you can see it like when you listen to your grandparents and they say, oh my God, when I was young, the world was much better place. It was like this, it was like that and stuff. And we always look back with like kind of like this nostalgia, like, this Six of Cups, right? Like, it used to be so much better, or so much this, so much that. Actually, another side note, me and my bestie, we had this conversation and we said, like, when you were 18 years old, I mean, unless you are 18 years old now, but, I guess most of people that watch my videos are not 18 years old. So, when you were 18 years old and you thought, oh my God, I was so fat, look at me, I was so gross, because, when we were teenagers, we were like so self-conscious and stuff. And then you look at, I'm sure you are in a great shape, but then you look at yourself and you go like, I wish I looked like that when I was 18, And that's always going to be the same. It doesn't matter, when you're going to be 5 years from now, you're going to say, 5 years ago, I look great. I should have appreciated more. So you are always at the best shape of your life, like right now, because every time, of course, we can always change things, but you know what I mean? That every time we look back, we look at that like, that was the perfect time. Like most of the time, we think, that was perfect back then. Now it's not so great anymore. So it's like, but we never appreciated that moment, and that moment is the only thing we actually have. Like even with relationships. I can be the first one to put the hands up, because I 100% done this many times. When you are in a relationship and we start taking it for granted after some time, things kind of like, once the honeymoon period wears off, then, you start like judging that other person and see their shortcomings and like, I didn't notice this before, and all these kind of things, right? And then when it's over, then you think like, actually, it wasn't that bad. Or I'm not saying sometimes it was, okay, sometimes it was. Now I'm just trying to talk spoke about the nostalgia, the feeling of nostalgia, so people can they can research in the memory bank, like what does that feel like, this feeling of nostalgia of like, oh yeah, I remember these good times, that Christmas was amazing and all that. And that Leo is naturally, like from the traditional astrology, is associated with this feeling of nostalgia, like, oh yeah, yes, that was the great golden times, that's when we were happy and in love and everything was fantastic. Even though when the time was happening we didn't acknowledge that, we thought like, oh no, it can be better, we were thinking about that next thing we want, like, oh yeah, I want a bigger car and bigger house, and when we're gonna go for that vacation to Maldives and stuff. So this is what I mean. We always either stuck in the present, stuck in the past, or in the future. We hardly ever here, like right now. So I feel like with this new moon in Leo, it definitely gave an opportunity to go like, oh, okay, I'm actually right here in this present moment, and I have the opportunity to integrate this knowledge, wisdom, whatever, and to be aware of what's happening, because that saves us having to find ourselves in the same situation and then go like, oh, how the hell did I get here again? Like I was here last year. And now is the opportunity to, every time is the opportunity to make a new choices under these old circumstances, especially when these lunations come around. Obviously, nothing is ever going to be the same 100% because things are moving in the sky. So the last time there was a new moon in Leo, something else was happening, like, yes, Pluto was still retrograde in Capricorn, but there, like, not everything was identical. So that's why, yes, when we miss certain opportunity energetically, there will be another one coming around, but it never will be exactly the same. It might be a different person, it might be a different job, it might be a different stranger on a street, or it might be a different whatever, like different course that you take. But there might be similar things, similar theme, but not exactly the same. So that's why, yes, this nostalgia was definitely present, because there was, again, like, stuff coming from a family, because our family can trigger us like no one else, for most people anyway, like, because they know all the buttons to push. And it's like, yeah, I've been through this situation before, when they were telling me these things, trying to trigger me. And again, how are we going to respond to it? Am I going to actually, take a responsibility and all my worth and shine my light, right? And say like, actually, you have the right to your opinion, nothing wrong with that, but it doesn't have to be mine. And also this continuous, this fear that we don't know what's coming. Let's predict the future. Like, yeah, I need to know what I'm going to do 2 months from now, 6 months from now, and then it doesn't happen and we're disappointing. But in no way saying that, yeah, now let's just not plan anything ever, right? But it's just this non-attachment, not to be so attached, because when things don't work out, and it's like, oh, c'est la vie, something better must be coming around then. But yeah, these are the things that were coming up for me. Definitely family, pushing buttons, for sure. Then this opportunity for stating the self-worth and, deciding what do you feel you're worth, because then other people are just going to mirror it back to you. They're not going to wait. They're not going to be the one to tell you, oh yeah, you deserve this much, this much. No, you have to decide what you deserve, and then the people that resonate with you then going to appreciate that, and yeah, sure, or not, it's all good. And and then this guilt and shame, when you actually do try to put yourself first, or meet your needs, or treat yourself, God forbid, and it's this guilt and shame, like, oh, I shouldn't, like, oh my God. So yeah, so all these things been coming to the surface for sure. And I mean, astrologically, it makes sense perfectly, because we know Venus was in a closing phase. There was Jupiter is in a closing phase with Uranus. Jupiter is in Taurus, helping us to learn the truth about ourselves, abundance, about prosperity, about money, about our relationship. It's all Taurus. This is all Taurus. Taurus covers all these things, all these topics, all these sensitive topics. That's why everybody knows about Venus, because this is something that is part of our everyday reality. And yeah, like that was that, like I said, square from Uranus, but Uranus and Jupiter are in a closing conjunction, so Jupiter was involved by proxy. And yeah, and then there was the trine from from Mars and Mercury in a closing phase conjunction. There's so many closing of the cycles, and this is what I was talking about with the girls, like in my astrological share. astrological collab over the weekend. There is so much closing, so much like past coming to be thrown in our face, in this good Uranian fashion, because Uranus represents the subconscious. So we need to get triggered, all these tower moments have to come into our life, and things just happen completely unexpectedly. And then we have this sudden realization of like, oh my God, like, why is this? Where is it coming from? Where did it start? What is this trauma behind this all? And it might not even be from this lifetime. You see, that's the thing, especially with these people with Pluto in the 12th house. You culminate in multiple lifetimes, because Pluto in a 12th house has the totality of all the previous experiences, everything that came before this lifetime. So there's going to be a lot of culmination. And for me, Pluto is in a 12th house right now, not natally, but because I'm Aquarius rising and Pluto is still in Capricorn. And it will be in 12th house until it gets to past my ascendant, which won't be until about 2026. So I have still some more transmutation and transcendentation to do, closing of the old cycles. And this is all for healing, guys, because the rule of the North Node is still in Virgo, and it's all about healing. Saturn is in Pisces, Neptune is in Pisces. This is grand closing of the Pisces age, of the theme of Pisces age is not good enoughness, externalizing our power, expecting someone else to tell us what we worth, going to somebody else to tell us how to live our life, and what's the purpose of my life, you tell me, because I don't know. How is anybody meant to know? Only you know, because the seed is within you. We discussed this already. I mentioned that many times. When you buy a seed to grow something, the seed knows what it is going to grow to be, what vegetable, or what fruit, or what tree. The seed always knows, because it's in it. Same as in you. You are born with the seed. You are born with your crystalline DNA, your human DNA, all the ancestral memory, all that. But in essence, we know, because, like, seriously, when somebody puts 10 flavors of ice cream in front of you, you know which one you like and which one you don't like. But what is that decides that? What is that within you that decides, I like this ice cream, or I do or don't like that food, or I do or don't like that smell? What is it? That's something within you that is your Leo, that is your unique self, that says, this is me, I am this, I am showing up, like Mars. And North Node is in Aries. And actually, yes, tomorrow we're gonna have the Sun trine in the North Node, because now Sun had almost the totality of having its experience in its home sign. That happens once a year, obviously, and it's just about to move into Virgo next week, same day as as Mercury stations retrograde, funnily enough, the ruler of Virgo. But like I said, I want to leave this for my next video. But yes, so now we have the totality of understanding of, okay, what does it mean for me to be authentic, and what is it that I really love and enjoy? And Venus is rebirthed, so Venus is telling us, okay, well, I need to reevaluate how I act in this society, because that's another thing that keeps coming up, in my clients' charts. We are searching for a new role to play, just like actors when they go to casting, and they're, especially these rom-com celebrities, that used to play rom-coms for decades, and then they decide, no, I want to be a like a killer now, serial killer, or some baddie, I don't want to be the rom-com guy anymore, or the woman, like a rom-com chick, or something, because we want to grow and evolve even as an actor. So that's perfect, because Leo rules acting. There's a perfect analogy for that. So your soul comes into this incarnation, and I'm not saying it depends obviously on the soul's experience where they are at on our evolution, on their evolutionary path, but in many cases it's like, okay, I want to play a different role now. I don't want to play that role of this victim and not good enough, and coming to everybody else for it, putting everybody else first, this old role, the role that our ancestors played for many many centuries. And now they all cheering on us from the other side, saying, hey, you be the one to change it. We don't want to come back and have to play this role again, so you change it, please. And then we have to go through all this guilt and shame, and actually finding out that, is this my truth? Is this actually my truth? Jupiter is in a closing phase with Uranus, so is this actually the truth? Or is it the story of the past? Because we are here to rewrite the story. And I mean, it's so crazy. Seriously, the astrology is so crazy because, like, just looking at the astrology, how as I mentioned many times, how it's so perfectly mirroring everything, the above, the below, how everything is mirroring each other, our experiences in our personal life. So that's why I'm not even surprised anymore. Whatever turns up in my life, I was like, okay, well, let me check the charts, and like, oh no, no surprise at all. Like, of course, this was encouraged, and because I'm like so tuned into things now, like, yeah, you know, the universe just sends me the practical application of the experience straight away. Like, okay, yeah, you have this experience, so you know how it feels, you know. And I'm like, okay, I'll share because I don't mind. But yeah, so where did you get triggered this week, guys? You know, did it something turn up in your life that made you to establish your new sense of self-worth, or perhaps put new boundaries in your relationships, or where you decide that actually I don't want to do this job anymore because I deserve better, I want to shine, I want to do my own thing, I want to be my own boss, right? Because Leo, the leader. So yeah, so there's been definitely a lot of interesting themes, and yeah, if you haven't seen my collaboration with my bestie, my soul sister Marisa from Growing the Flow, then you're missing out for sure, because so many breadcrumbs, so many repeating themes, so many synchronicities, and yeah, we are definitely building up towards this year 8, 2024. You know, that's gonna be a massive year, because that's the year when Pluto will go back to Capricorn for the last time, and then it's gonna go to Aquarius for next 20 years, as we keep repeating. So yeah, and of course, the North Node will continue its transit through Aries, and the South Node is transit through Libra. So we see how is this going to impact our relationships, and our relationships to each other, like inside, to yourself, and to one another, externally, internally, externally, because everything is a mirror to each other. But yeah, so anyway, guys, to wrap this up, that's all I wanted to really say, just to have a little monologue with myself, to share my week's experience, how interestingly it turned up, and how I'm observing my responses to this situation, and catching myself unconsciously trying to make a new choice under old circumstances, and perhaps hopefully integrating, you know, this opportunity, this experience, so I don't have to have it again. Although there always will be another experience, because we are in a human incarnation, there always will be more to learn, more to transcend, more to overcome. But yeah, we are always supported, and there is a lot of stuff happening in the world, so you know, so it's best to be supported by the right beings, including your own higher self, and that will always guide you exactly where you need to go. So yeah, so here we are, Friday. So I hope everybody has some nice plans for the weekend. I have one client today and 2 more tomorrow, and that's it. Then I only have 2 more before the end of the month. And yeah, so I'm just going to see what my higher self and my inner child wants me to do, like do or just be, right? Because there's been so much doing, not enough doing, so much doing, not enough being. So that's something that I definitely want to adjust in my reality, bring balance. There was many times this card Temperance has been coming out, and there's actually something that I'm also going to include in my reality tarot, like on a more professional level. So stay tuned, really excited about that. And yeah, there are some new beginnings next week. I'm starting a new course with my teacher, my even evolutionary astrology teacher. So yeah, so definitely this new moon in Leo is bringing energies for sure. You know, it's definitely helping us to step into our authenticity, becoming more truer to yourself, becoming your true self, and having giving yourself the permission, having the courage to give yourself the permission to actually do what you feel that you want to do, because we didn't come here to live anybody else's life. We came here to have other people walk alongside us, but you didn't come to walk somebody else's life for them, or them to walk your life for you, right? So that's why it's very important to discern who you surround yourself with and what, like, because everything is energy, everything impacts us. So yeah, anyway, so that's what I mean. This new moon definitely brought a lot of opportunities for shining your light and setting your new worth, right? And yeah, and let's see where that's gonna take us, because there is a lot happening in the sky. So I'll cover all that in my upcoming video, which will be about astrology, very likely released on Monday. So I just want to wish you all, guys, a beautiful weekend. I hope that you found some entertainment in this video. Do comment, like, subscribe to support my channel, and if you want, you can book a reading with me for September, and I'll speak to you again soon. Much love, everyone. Bye for now.